The time now is 5:30 p.m. and it's going to be getting dark soon, certainly within the next hour. And in just a week or two's time, the clocks change, so it will be dark now. So I'm making the most of these last few nights I have of it being light when I get home from work. I've stopped on the way home to pick up 3 bags of bread. These are all left over from a bakery. I'm going to go and distribute this around now. Gonna give some. We actually run out of bread a day or two ago for our animals, so I will give some to our hens, and our goats will get a little bit. They don't get it every day. The hens get it every day. The goats don't. They get it as a treat, but they haven't had any for a little while. So we'll give some to the hens and the goats. I'm gonna go feed the pigs. Gonna just walk around and really just check on all of our newer animals, and then with whatever daylight is left, I'm gonna go and do just a little bit more work on the butchery. I've got 2 jobs really that I want to get done this week. It's the start of the week, and I've got a full schedule of daytime work. So I've got, you know, these few hours that I can pinch at the very start of the evening when I get home, and I've got 2 jobs that I would like to get done by the end of the week, basically, to go into the weekend feeling like I've achieved something during the week. And they are to make some more progress on the butchery. I want to get that maybe not finished, but I certainly want to get the structure finished, and maybe just the shelving units and stuff left to do at the weekend. That'd be nice. And the other one is to go up through and winter prep the next section of our vegetable bed. So you saw me do one section a week or two ago, and probably about a quarter of our bed, maybe a third. Got it all weeded and a few of our winter veg put in, and I want to do another quarter or third really this week. But we'll see how time goes and see how I feel. I've been in danger in the last week or two, and I'm sure you can all relate to this, of feeling a little bit under pressure, a little bit stressed with just the amount that there is to do. And for me personally, I'm the sort of person that can bite off more than I can chew on, and it can really affect me negatively. Now, I've kind of learned how to deal with that over the years, and I'm much better now than I was. Here we go. This makes it worth it. This makes it all worth it. Hello, guys. And that new boy, my wife, as someone commented in the comments, quite rightly, my wife has taken to calling him Sid. He's got a name, and she confessed that he might actually be her favourite goat out of all the goats we've got. So there's a really good chance we're going to keep him, and I've got a plan for that actually, which I'll talk to you about in a second. But what I was saying was, I've got the propensity within me to, or I've got it within me to have a propensity towards taking on a little bit more than I should, and kind of collapsing under the weight of it all, to the point where I sort of give up on a lot of things. Well, I don't want that to happen. Okay, girls, right, hang on. Look. I'm gonna have to stop talking for a sec while I feed these guys, because it's worth sharing. Here you go. Here we go. Like I say, the goats don't get this every day. I'm not sure how good it would be for them to have every day, but every few days they'll get a loaf of bread or 2 between the lot of them, and they do enjoy it. So as I was saying, I was starting to feel a little bit under pressure with just the amount that I had going on. In the last week, as you know, we've had this influx of animals. We've had this guy down here. We've also had, you know, the ducks, the chickens, the pigs, and they've all needed varying amounts of commitment to what we need to do. And then there's also just this little backlog of work that's building up. I absolutely need to get in and trim these guys' feet this weekend. I can't put that off. The main driver behind the sort of stress levels and the reason I'm falling behind is just the amount of hours I've had to put in at work, which is more than I sort of need to in terms of my financial security here, and more than I should be in terms of the amount of hours I need to do here. So it's been a bit stressful, but I've learnt to kind of say, you know, all these things that I'm talking to you about that I really want to do, there are some things that cannot be compromised, and I'm talking about the animals' welfare, you know. So I need to get particularly Fern's feet trimmed this weekend, and nothing can compromise that. That will have to happen because that's for her welfare, and she has no choice in the matter. She has to wait until, there you go. She has to, you know, she's beholden on me doing that. So that's definitely going to happen. But everything else, so the vegetable garden, the butchery, if they don't get done, they don't get done. And that's okay. You know, if I end up having to slaughter the pig 2 weeks later than I wanted, then that's what will happen. If I end up having to forego some weeds over there in the vegetable patch for a few extra weeks, then that's what will happen, you know. And that ability to just say it's okay, you know, is something that I find doesn't come naturally to me. It doesn't come easily. I've learnt to live with it over the years and cultivate it, if you like, so that I'm able to chill out a little bit and enjoy things a bit more rather than just being stressed about what's not getting done. So that's enough for those girls. We'll jump in and give a loaf each to the 2 flocks of hens in here, and they will enjoy it just as much. It's important to do the goats first for obvious reasons. And it's important to spread this out so that everybody can get some. You can see them waiting there. And so another job that I want to do this weekend is to move these trailers. We actually wanted to do it last weekend and we ran out of time, so we need to get these trailers moved just for the ground's sake. Again, this is something, if it doesn't get done, then, you know, so be it, and the ground will suffer, but no one will die. So, you know, we need to just keep everything in perspective. You're right, love, you were after a little bit more bread, were you? You have had quite a bit, darling, and you don't actually need any, do you? Because you've got all this grass. Right, so next I've just got to empty the rest of this bread out into bins, which are in the right place. I've got to drop a little bit more off to my wife's hens in Poultry Paradise. So I'll go and drop them a quarter of a loaf or something, and then we'll put the rest in bins, saving just enough for the ducks. So we can go and visit them as well, check on them. So I'm in with the ducks now, and I think, as I thought they might, they've accosted this nice large run down here, this house as theirs. It's a bit dark in there, I'm not sure we'll be able to see them, but we'll have a look. Hey guys, you bedded down nice and early? I've got some bread for you, I'll leave some out here on the floor, all right? Our pair of meat chickens are still in here, and they're doing really well as well. They seem really happy. They're not the friendliest pair, and they never have been. They've been really quite flighty. They've never been around people, I don't think, in kind of in a nice way. I think the only time they've ever been around people has been when they've been you know, handled not particularly pleasantly or moved quite roughly or whatever. So they don't like us to go near them, and that's okay because we don't actually need to. But I am going to give them some bread, and whatever they leave will be there for the ducks in the morning. When they first came, they wouldn't take bread. They had no idea what it was, wouldn't go near it, and they're obviously getting used to being spoilt now. When I filled the bins up, we had one piece of sort of stale bread left over from last time, and I always throw that towards where the pigs are going to get it. And these are the two new youngsters. Look, they found it already, having a little nibble. And again, they fitted in so well. It's always a little bit of a gamble whenever you're getting new animals, especially big animals. Obviously not quite so much with ducks and chickens and things, but when you're getting new pigs or goats, it's always a bit of a gamble what temperament you're going to get. And even if you go and see them first, you don't know how they're going to react with your animals. So we always approach the introduction of new animals, bigger animals, with a little bit of trepidation and care. And of course, as I said before, you know, I was quite prepared to jump in and have my big timber board to sort of separate the pigs from the sows from the boars, if that's what was needed. But across the board, with this influx of animals, the pigs, the goats, everything, it just couldn't have gone any better. You know, we couldn't have wished for a better selection of animals and a better mix of animals, old and new. It's gone so well, and so much so that I think there's a pretty good chance, and I would never have thought this before we had him. If you'd asked me what the chances were of us keeping whichever male goat we brought in to breed our girls, I would have said pretty close to zero. We've always, my wife in particular, but both of us to a degree, we've always kind of been against it for two main reasons. One is just, but he's so friendly. He's so gentle and friendly as well. He was really gentle with my niece, my young niece. He's so friendly. So one of the reasons is the smell. And goats, male goats, stink. Uncastrated male goats stink. If you have a wether, which is a castrated male, then you don't get the smell. But males that are actively breeding stink. It's how they attract a mate. The girls are attracted to the biggest stink possible. So it's goat perfume, if you will. And it's something that's always been quite off-putting. I don't know if you've ever been to animal parks, animal farms, and been around whole male goats, but the smell can be really quite something to behold. The last male we had here, I actually collected him in the back of my car, and I'm not exaggerating when I say it took months before the smell was gone. So it's just one of them where, you know, it's the smell in general, but also when you touch them, you have that smell on you. So in that regard, he is actually really mild. It's early days, I know, but so far, really mild compared to anything that we would have expected. So that box, if you like, is ticked. Now the other thing, and this is something that I need to do a bit more research on, you know, everything I'm doing here, I've very little experience with anything I'm doing. Everything that I'm sharing with you me learning it. I'm not sharing with you like master and student. I'm sharing with you like student and student. And so this in particular is something that I need to do a bit more research on. But effectively, the other issue, if we're keeping a male, we can't have him just running with our girls 12 months of the year. And, you know, we want to be in control of when they get bred, and, you know, we want to be in control of that. And so effectively having a male full-time permanently raised the need of having almost a separate paddock, a new paddock just for him. And that was, you know, obviously another reason why it might not have made sense to keep him. But in the build-up to me getting him, regular watchers will know I really struggled to find a male this year. Now, usually, up until this year, the last 2 years, they've been super easy. I go on the internet, find a male, or a choice of males, and I bring a nice cheap one in. It's simple as that. And then I sell him. Well, this year, I've really struggled. There were two males, which were stud goats. Hey girls, which were available for loan for that purpose. and I looked into getting those. I'm just going to feed these girls and then I'll carry on. So as I was saying, there were 2 males available that you could stud, you could hire basically for a month or whatever. And they were both booked up until January or February of next year. So, of course, look at that. We've got some lovely sweet corn in there, girls. So, putting that piece of information together with everything else makes me think that perhaps what we can do is actually rent him out. And obviously what I would do is I would go and inspect anywhere that he's going to go to, and you know, I wouldn't let him go anywhere that was where he wasn't going to have a whale of a time and be looked after. But it would enable us to keep him almost as a pet. It would also perhaps generate a little bit of income, which obviously would be nice. It would also save some money. I wouldn't have to buy another one next year. There's lots of things. It all kind of fits together. Now, it would lead to a little bit of increased workload, but here's the thing. I don't mind. It's actually really easy, not a case of not minding. It's really easy to fit in extra workload when that's stuff that's actually being paid for, because that's really easy to take time away from my other paid for job. It doesn't have to come out of time that I'm spending here. And I'm really keen to increase the sorts of things that I can do here and get paid for, and to enable me to reduce the sorts of things I need to do elsewhere at work to get paid for. So I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'm saying at the moment, and I only came up with this idea this morning, and I briefly mentioned it to my wife. She started making jokes recently about how she, you know, if she wants to find out what's going to happen here with our animals, she has to watch the YouTube channel. So I need to be a little bit wary of stating the case too strongly. You know, this is just an idea at the moment. But as of right this second, it feels right to me. It feels like that's the way we should go. And coupled with some other things, you know, that have happened this last week, it feels like it's been a really significant week. You know, we've now got, potentially, if everything goes well, a steady supply of ducks. We've now got a steady supply of meat chickens, specifically meat chickens, which means that we can carry on breeding the more decorative animals and sell them. We've got a steady supply of pigs. And again, they're going to overproduce. They're going to produce a dozen piglets. We only need to keep 2 or maybe 3. So that's, you know, nearly 10 that we can sell for between 40 and 50 pounds each. Which not only represents, you know, several £100s, it also represents a saving of the £90 that I would have spent that year in buying 2 in. These are all things that are just starting to sort of fall into place now. And I feel that we've made some real progress. That's a decent summary of where we are with the animals, I think, and potentially a plan for going forward where they're not only going to provide us with meat and dairy, but they're also going to potentially put some money in our pockets, which frees up time to do other things. So I'm thrilled with that. Now I've got maybe half an hour of light, and I don't have the inclination to stay out much later than that this evening. I'm not lighting a fire, so remnants of the fire from last time. I'm going to carry on building the butcher. I think all I'm going to get done is I'm going to put some diagonal bracings on these corners. I've also made a decision. I spent some money. This is an old tarpauling. It's incredibly heavy duty, and with it being incredibly heavy duty, it's incredibly heavy, and it's a real pain. It was a real fight for me to get it up there. I did it on my own, and it was a real fight. It's also quite stiff where it's been folded up and left for a little while. Yeah, like I said, it was a real struggle. So I spent £32. I was stunned by the cost of tarpaulins. £32. I got 2 tarpaulins, £16 each, 5 meters by 8 meters. So I'm going to take this one down. I'm going to put up 2 new blue ones. They're going to be lightweight, super quick and easy for me to put up and down. And I think they're going to just suit this purpose a little bit better. And then we'll put this one back into storage until we need it for something else. It is a great tarpaulin. There's a few holes in it, but it's super heavy duty, and I think it's just too heavy duty for what I want here. Remember, part of what I wanted here was for it to be put up and take downable. So yeah, that's the plan. So I might get rid of that and get our corners up, and then catch up with you guys again later in the week. Okay guys, I know you can't see anything really except for my face. I'm using the light from my drill to light my face just to sign off. I've actually got loads more done than I was expecting, so I'm super happy. I've got all the corner braces up. I've got a big brace in the center for supporting the weight of the pig when I hang it, and I've got the rails up ready to take the worktop. So yeah, got loads done. Anyway, I will speak to you guys soon. Cheers.